right, people, welcome back to OTMkast podcast, where we dive into anything and everything that shapes our lives, from sports to lifestyle, from fashion to careers and beyond. This is your one-stop destination for insightful conversations and engaging discussions. On today's episode, um, I like to bring to one that messes with us a lot, and it has to do with fulfillment. But the question is fulfillment a myth or a reality? Is it just another word that influencers toss around, or is it something you and I can actually experience for real, not just on paper, or let's say something you just write down and forget about? But anyway, let's get right into it. And I want to start with, why are we even asking this question? Why, or if fulfillment is a myth or a reality? The reason behind some of the things is that deep down, no one wants to just exist. We want to matter in life, we want to feel full, and we just don't want to get busy. But somewhere around the line between the hustle culture and the survival mode, the idea of fulfillment became somehow foggy. Some people tie it to success, others tie it to relationship, some to God if you're spiritual, and some to travel. But here is the vital twist with that. What if fulfillment isn't about what you achieve, but about what aligns with you? We might be chasing fulfillment using someone else's dictionary. And that is why some of us, it feels like we keep going, but it's slipping through our hands. And let's talk about the myth part of fulfillment. Why do some people feel that fulfillment isn't real? And I could tie this to three reasons. I'm sure there are more. And if you think of any other one, please leave it in the comment. But for now, I can think of three reasons why people might feel fulfillment isn't real. And one of them is that you never arrive. What do I mean by that? There is always a next level to achieve. For example, you start as a regular employee, then you move to the senior, then you move to, let's say, manager, you move to director, and you move and you keep going. So people might see it that way and realize there's always a next level. So the fulfillment part never really arrives. And also, it can be that life is too hard. People say life is somewhat a struggle, and you can never really be satisfied with what it is that you're striving to get. And some other people might think of it and say it is just for the privileged. I mean, we all know what people who are privileged in life or in the society, how they feel and how they roll. So, is it just for the money? Is it for the time? Or is it for the freedom? I mean, what you believe might go a long way. And one thing is, if you believe it is not for you, then it is almost impossible for you to even seek it. So you would almost always settle. But here is one thing that I believe in, and I think fulfillment is real, but it is just some way somehow misunderstanding. People can misunderstand what fulfillment means. And one thing that I believe is that it is seasonal. What fulfills you when you are in your 20s might not be when you are in your 30s or your 40s. And it doesn't mean that it is fake. No, it just means that growth happens within that time You've outgrown when you were in your 20s, when you were in your 30s, and so on and so forth. Another thing that I know or that I've come to conclusion with is that it is internal. It is more about who you are becoming than what you are achieving. And fulfillment is almost always quiet, simply because it is not loud or it is not flashy. It is somewhat of a peace that you feel inside of you. It is an alignment with the world that you want to create. And at the end of the day, it is when your actions echoes the values that you have. You walk away from something, a conversation, for example, a project, a moment, and some way, somehow inside of you, you feel like you've done the right thing. That is what fulfillment feels like. When you receive no likes, when you had almost zero comment, when you got no applause or any words of recognition, but some way, somehow inside of you, you felt an inner peace. That is my definition of what fulfillment is. And let's switch the gear now. And what if we are asking the wrong question? Maybe the question isn't if fulfillment is a myth or a reality. Maybe the better question to this episode is, what does my version of fulfillment look like? And am I building a life that reflects it? Because if you don't really define it, the world will define it for you. And trust me, that version will never satisfy you. Let me keep it a buck with you. And like I was saying earlier, some people chase everything the world says they should. They tick off all the boxes, but they still wake up every single day and feel empty. That is because fulfillment isn't external, it is internal. Denzel Washington once said that, do not confuse movement with progress. So you can be busy and still be unfulfilled. Always ask yourself, am I doing this because it matters to me, or am I doing it because I don't want to fall behind people? So before we wrap up this episode, whatever it is you feel, whatever it is you think, just do me a favor and leave it in the comment section or share this with someone. So before we go, here is one thing that I challenged myself to do for this week, and I'll be challenging you as well to do for this week. Take maybe 10 minutes out of your day and ask yourself, what actually fulfills me? What drains my energy? Where in life do I feel most alive? And what exactly is stopping me from doing more of that? You might not find the answer today, tomorrow, or even weeks or months from now. But the moment you start searching and asking that question, then that is the win. How do you feel? Is fulfillment a myth or a reality to you? And at the end of the day, it is not or never a one size fits all. But one thing that I know for sure is it is definitely not a fiction. So, whatever you think, whatever you feel, whatever your imagination says, whatever fulfillment means to you, leave it in the comment section and let us do what? Let us share our thoughts together. So thank you all for listening to OTMkast podcast once again. Wherever it is you're listening from, either in the morning, afternoon, or night. But always remember that no one writes your story. you do. Till we meet again, bye for now. Cheers.